The massive alien ship dwarfed the small human vessel as they floated side by side in the darkness of space. Inside the human ship named Horizon, Commander Alex Daniels took a deep breath. Today was the day humanity would officially join the galactic community. "Are you ready, Lieutenant Wright?" Alex asked, adjusting his simple blue uniform one last time. Lieutenant Samantha Wright nodded, her blonde hair pulled back tightly. "As ready as I'll ever be, Commander. First humans to board, the Galactic Confederation's diplomatic station. No pressure, right?" Alex smiled despite his nerves. 6 months ago, alien ships had appeared in Earth's orbit. After the initial panic settled, communication was established. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of over 300 species spread across the stars. Now humanity was being invited to join their ranks. "Remember the briefing," Alex said as they walked toward the airlock. "Their environmental needs are different from ours. They've set up a special meeting room for us." The airlock hissed open. 4 aliens waited on the other side. They stood on 4 thin legs with slender torsos and large oval heads. Their skin was pale blue, and they wore no clothes, only equipment belts. "Welcome, humans," the tallest alien said through a translation device. "I am Ambassador Zilks of the Galactic Confederation. We are honored by your presence." Alex stepped forward. "Ambassador Zilks, I am Commander Alex Daniels of Earth. This is Lieutenant Samantha Wright. We bring greetings from all of humanity." The aliens stared at them with large, unblinking eyes. One whispered to another, and Samantha caught something about no protective gear before they were led down a long hallway. The diplomatic station was enormous, with wide corridors and high ceilings. They passed various aliens of different shapes and sizes, all of whom stopped to stare at the humans. Many backed away quickly. "Is something wrong?" Samantha asked, when a small green alien gasped and hurried in the opposite direction. Ambassador Zilix's 4-fingered hand made a gesture similar to dismissal. "Nothing to concern yourself with. Some species are simply cautious about newcomers." They arrived at a large door marked with symbols. "This is the human reception chamber," Zilx explained. "We have adjusted it to Earth standards for your comfort." The door opened to reveal a room filled with various alien diplomats. The temperature was pleasantly warm, and earth plants decorated the corners. A table of food and drinks stood in the center. "Please enjoy," Zilk said. These diplomats are eager to meet representatives from Earth. As Alex and Samantha moved through the room, they noticed the strange behavior of the aliens. Some kept a noticeable distance, others approached, cautiously, as if the humans might explode. A round orange alien with multiple eyes floated toward them. "Is it true?" it asked through its translator. "You come from planet designation SOL3? "We call it Earth," Alex replied. The alien backed away slightly. "A Class 12 death world? How do you survive?" Before Alex could ask what that meant, another alien joined them. This one was tall and insect-like. "Fascinating," the insectoid alien said. "And you require no environmental suits? You breathe raw oxygen at nearly 20%? Samantha looked confused. "Yes, that's our natural atmosphere." The aliens exchanged meaningful looks. More gathered around, keeping their distance but clearly curious. "Your gravity is over twice what most civilized worlds maintain," a small furry alien stated. "Your temperature variations can exceed 50 degrees in a single location. Your world has thousands of predatory species and constant natural disasters." Alex wasn't sure how to respond. "That's normal for us." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the room. Red lights flashed along the walls. "Environmental system failure," a computerized voice announced. Adjusting to station defaults. The temperature in the room dropped rapidly. The air became thinner. Gravity decreased slightly. Around them, aliens began to panic. The insectoid diplomat fell to the floor, its breathing labored. The floating orange alien sank to the ground, its multiple eyes closing. Others pressed emergency buttons on their suits or staggered toward the exits. "What's happening?" Samantha asked, feeling only mild discomfort from the colder temperature. The room was set to Earth conditions. Alex realized. Now it's reverting to the station's normal environment. Without hesitation, both humans moved. To help. Alex rushed to the fallen insectoid diplomat, lifting its surprisingly light body easily. "Medical emergency," he called out, carrying the alien toward the door. Samantha helped 3 smaller aliens who were struggling to move in what was, to them, rapidly thinning air. She carried 2 under each arm, moving quickly despite the burden. Ambassador Zilk stared, in shock as the humans effortlessly helped alien after alien, seemingly unaffected by conditions that were causing the others severe distress. Emergency responders arrived minutes later, finding the humans still conscious and active while most of the room's occupants needed immediate medical attention. "How?" Ambassador Zilix asked, leaning against a wall for support. "These conditions are a bit uncomfortable," Alex admitted, "but nothing dangerous. Is everyone going to be okay?" Before Zilx could answer, the station's commander arrived. He was a tall, skeletal being with gray skin and large black eyes. "The malfunction has been corrected," the commander said. "No lasting harm done thanks to your unexpected assistance." The commander studied the humans carefully. "Our records indicated Earth was a Class 12 death world, but we assumed your species had developed technology to survive despite your planet's hostility. We did not realize you had evolved to thrive in such conditions." Alex and Samantha exchanged glances. Earth, a death world? The concept seemed absurd to them. "What you call survival conditions," Samantha said. "We just call home." News spread quickly through the station. The humans from Earth weren't fragile creatures who had somehow survived a hostile planet. They were products of that environment, naturally stronger, more durable, and more adaptable than most Confederation species. Later, in their private quarters, Alex reviewed the Confederation's classification of Earth. Extreme gravity, atmospheric, toxins, temperature extremes, geological instability, dangerous wildlife, microbial threats, radiation exposure, he read aloud. "They think our normal day is a survival nightmare." Samantha laughed softly. "And yet they want us in their confederation." "Not just want us," Alex said, looking up from the screen. "After what happened today, I think some of them are afraid of us." Outside their window, the vast expanse of space glittered with stars, each potentially holding worlds where humans would be considered something extraordinary, not because of their technology or their culture, but simply because they had evolved on a world that the galaxy considered hell, and this was only the beginning. Word spread quickly through the Galactic Confederation about the humans from Earth. In the 2 weeks since their arrival, Alex and Samantha had become unwitting celebrities on the diplomatic station. Aliens followed them at a distance, watching with a mixture of fear and wonder. "This is getting awkward," Samantha said as they walked toward the science wing. Another group of aliens quickly moved aside to let them pass. "They act like we're going to break something just by looking at it." Alex nodded. "Dr. Mason is waiting for us. Maybe he can explain what's going on." Dr. Eric Mason, Earth's leading expert on alien biology, had arrived on the station 3 days ago. He had spent most of that time in meetings with Confederation scientists, trying to understand how different species had evolved across the galaxy. They found him in a large laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays of different planets. His red beard couldn't hide his excited expression. "Commander, Lieutenant, you're not going to believe what I've learned," he said as they entered. "It explains everything about how they've been treating us." He pointed to the largest display showing a map of the galaxy. Different worlds were marked in various colors. "Most Confederation species evolved on what they call Class 1 to 3 worlds," he explained. "Stable environments with minimal gravity, predictable weather, few natural disasters, and simple ecosystems with almost no predators." Alex looked at the display. "And Earth?" "Class 12, Eric said. "The highest danger rating in their system. Only 17 known worlds in the whole galaxy have this classification, and we're the only one that has produced a spacefaring civilization." Samantha frowned. "But Earth isn't that dangerous." "To us, no," Eric agreed. But that's because we evolved there. To most aliens, Earth is a nightmare. Our gravity would crush them. Our oxygen levels would be like breathing fire. Our bacteria and viruses would kill them in days. Even our water is considered toxic to some species because of the mineral content. Before they could discuss further, alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed in the corridors. "Attention all personnel," a voice announced. "Cerulean vessels detected. This is not a drill. All non-combat personnel proceed to secure areas." "Ceruleans?" Samantha asked. A tall, thin alien with purple skin rushed into the lab. "You must get to safety," he told them urgently. "The Cerulean Empire has been at war with the Confederation for decades. They are extremely dangerous." The station shook violently. The lights flickered. "That was a direct hit," Alex said, recognizing the feeling from his military training. "Where's the nearest defense station?" The purple alien looked surprised. "You wish to help defend, but you are guests." Another explosion rocked the station, cutting him off. Without waiting for further discussion, Alex led the group toward the command center. The scene there was one of controlled chaos. Aliens of various species worked at control panels while the station commander shouted orders. Through the main viewport, they could see 3 angular black ships firing energy weapons at the station. "Our shields are failing in Section 7, an operator called out. "Hull breach possible in minutes." The commander spotted the humans. "You should not be here. This is dangerous." "We can help," Alex insisted. "Lieutenant Wright is a tactical officer, and I have combat experience." The commander hesitated, then nodded. "Very well. We need all assistance possible." Samantha was directed to a weapons console. The controls were different, but the principles were similar enough. Alex joined a group organizing emergency responses. "Section 7 shields are down," an operator announced. "Hull breach confirmed. Emergency bulkheads not responding." "That's near the main power junction," the commander said gravely. "If we lose that area, the entire station could go dark." "I'll go," offered Dr. Mason. "I can assess the damage." "It's too dangerous," the commander objected. "The corridor is depressurizing and radiation from the Cerulean weapons will be present." Alex stepped forward. "We can handle it. What needs to be done?" Minutes later, Alex, Eric, and 2 brave alien engineers were making their way through damaged corridors. Emergency lights cast eerie shadows as they moved. The air was getting thinner as they approached the breach area. "Radiation levels increasing," one of the alien engineers said, checking a device. "We must turn back soon." "How much further to the junction?" Alex asked. "Just ahead, but the corridor is fully depressurized," the other alien said. "And the radiation there is lethal." Alex considered their options. "You 2 stay here. Dr. Mason and I will continue." The aliens looked shocked. "Without protective suits? Impossible." Eric checked his handheld scanner. "The radiation levels are high, but we should be able to tolerate short exposure. Our cells repair radiation damage better than most species." The aliens watched in disbelief as the humans continued forward, entering an area they considered a death zone. The power junction was a mess of damaged equipment and exposed wiring. Working quickly, Alex and Eric began the repairs. Their lungs burned from the thin air and they could feel the radiation on their skin like a sunburn, but they remained functional. "Almost got it," Eric said, reconnecting a crucial component. The lights in the area flickered, then stabilized. Back at the command center, Samantha was using Earth military tactics against the Cerulean ships. Her approach confused the enemy, who weren't prepared for her unpredictable attack patterns. "Shield power restored to Section 7, an operator announced with surprise. "How is this possible?" The commander watched the tactical display as one of the Cerulean ships began to retreat under Samantha's assault. "These humans," he murmured. "They are unlike any species we have encountered." When Alex and Eric returned, their faces were reddened from radiation exposure. But they were walking, unassisted. The alien medical staff insisted on examining them immediately. "Impossible," the chief medical officer said, looking at their scans. "You have radiation damage, but your cells are already repairing it, and you were in vacuum-like conditions with barely any oxygen for over 20 minutes. We were starting to feel it, Eric admitted. Another 10 minutes would have been pushing our limits. The Xyrillian attack was eventually repelled. In the aftermath, the station commander called a meeting with all senior staff and the human representatives. "Today has shown us something remarkable," the commander said. "What we considered impossible you did without hesitation. Your assistance was crucial in saving this station." He displayed a formal document. "I am recommending to the Confederation Council that Earth be invited as a full member world immediately, and that humans be recruited for our defense forces." Alex looked at Samantha and Eric. "We are not special among our people," he said. "Any human would have done the same." That statement, more than anything, sent murmurs throughout the alien gathering. A species where such extraordinary capabilities were considered normal was either the greatest ally the Confederation could hope for, or the most terrifying potential enemy the galaxy had ever seen. The question now was which path humanity would choose. 3 months after the Xyrillian attack, humans had become a common sight throughout the Galactic Confederation. 50 Earth representatives now served on various ships and stations. One of them, Captain Alan Pierce, stood on the bridge of the Confederation vessel Starlight, commanding a mixed crew of 7 different species. Alan was tall with broad shoulders and dark skin. At 42 years old, he had been a Navy captain on Earth before being selected for this position. Now he commanded this scout ship patrolling the border between Confederation and Xyrillian space. "Captain, we're detecting an unusual energy signature," said Krell, the reptilian sensor officer. His scaled fingers moved quickly over the control panel. "It appears to be a distress signal from a small moon in the Vega system." Alan frowned. "That's close to Xyrillian territory. Could be a trap." "The signal matches Confederation emergency protocols," Krell replied. "It appears genuine." Alan made his decision quickly. "Set course for the source, maximum speed, and alert Security Chief Blackwell to prepare a rescue team." The Starlight changed direction, its engines powering up to full capacity. In the security section, Lisa Blackwell received the captain's orders. She was a former Marine with red hair and a serious expression. She gathered her team, including 2 human officers and 3 aliens. "Looks like we have a rescue mission," she told them. "Prepare for potentially hostile conditions." One of the alien officers, a blue-skinned Novan named Triz, looked concerned. "What kind of conditions should we expect?" Lisa checked the data on her tablet. "The moon has a thin atmosphere, high radiation levels, and temperature extremes. It's classified as a Class 9 environment." The alien officers exchanged worried glances. For them, a Class 9 environment meant death without heavy protective gear. They were surprised when Lisa continued with her preparations, seemingly unconcerned. "Will you require special protective suits?" Triz asked hesitantly. Lisa looked up, confused for a moment before understanding. "Standard environment suits will be fine for us humans, nothing special needed." In the communications center, Daniel Harris was working a double shift. He hadn't slept in nearly 30 hours but showed no signs of fatigue. His alien colleagues had already changed shifts twice during his watch. "Daniel, you should rest," said his supervisor, a gentle insectoid named Vila. "You've been working too long without sleep." Daniel shrugged. "I'm fine. During emergencies back on Earth, I once worked 3 days straight. This is nothing." Vila's antennae twitched in disbelief. 3 Earth days without sleep, and you remained functional?" "Well, I needed a lot of coffee," Daniel admitted with a smile. "But yes, humans can push through when necessary." The Starlight arrived at the small moon and entered orbit. Scans confirmed a Confederation research vessel had crash-landed on the surface. Life signs were detected, but they were weak. On the bridge, Captain Pierce reviewed the data. "The crash site is in a radiation hot zone. The temperature there is -40 degrees, and the atmosphere is too thin to breathe." "Should we wait for a specialized rescue team?" asked his second-in-command, a tall avian alien. "No time," Alan replied. "Those people won't survive that long. Blackwell and her team can handle it." In the shuttle bay, Lisa's team prepared for the rescue mission. The three alien officers wore heavy protective suits that made movement difficult. The humans wore standard environment suits that were much lighter. "Remember," Lisa told the team, "our priority is getting the survivors to safety as quickly as possible." The shuttle landed near the crash site. Outside, the landscape was barren and hostile. The sky was dark, and the ground was covered in sharp rocks. Radiation warnings flashed on everyone's monitors. "We have 1 hour before radiation exposure becomes dangerous for us," Lisa told her human teammates. Turning to the aliens, she added, "You three should stay with the shuttle. Your suits won't hold up long out here." The alien officers didn't argue. They were already struggling with the environmental conditions despite their heavy protection. Lisa and the two human officers made their way to the crashed ship. Inside, they found 4 survivors, all aliens from different species. They were barely conscious and severely injured. "We need to move them quickly," Lisa said. "The ship's radiation shielding is failing." Each human carefully lifted an injured alien. Despite the added weight, they moved easily in the low gravity. The alien survivors were amazed to see their rescuers functioning so well in conditions their own species would find instantly fatal. "How possible?" one survivor asked, weakly as Lisa carried him across the rocky terrain. "We're from Earth," she explained simply, as if that answered everything. When they returned to the shuttle, the alien members of the rescue team were shocked to see each human carrying a survivor. On their worlds, it would have taken at least 2 people to carry 1 injured person, even in low gravity. Back on the Starlight, the medical team took charge of the survivors. The ship's doctor, an elderly alien with 6 arms, approached Captain Pierce on the bridge. "The survivors will recover," he reported. "But I must speak with you about your human crew members." Alan raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem?" "Not a problem," the doctor said. "A revelation. Officer Blackwell and her team were exposed to radiation levels that would kill most species. Yet their cellular damage is minimal and already repairing itself. They carried injured aliens across difficult terrain without assistance, and Communications Officer Harris has been working for nearly 40 Earth hours without rest, maintaining full cognitive function." The doctor's voice lowered. "Captain, I've studied xenobiology for 60 years and I've never seen anything like humans. Your natural abilities would be considered supernatural on most worlds." Alan smiled slightly. "Doctor, on Earth, Lisa would be considered strong but not exceptional. Daniel pulling an all-nighter is something university students do regularly, and radiation resistance is just how our cells work." The doctor shook his head in wonder. "Then Earth truly is the death world the legends describe, and you are its children." News of the rescue spread quickly through the Confederation. Stories about the humans who carried injured aliens through lethal radiation became popular. The Xerillians, monitoring Confederation communications, took special notice. In a dark chamber on a Xerillian warship, military leaders gathered to discuss this new threat. "These humans," said the Xerillian commander, "they come from a world that would kill our strongest warriors in minutes. They survive conditions we consider impossible. They recover from injuries that would end our lives." He displayed images of humans working alongside Confederation species. "They are few in number now, but what happens when more arrive? What happens when they bring their death world adaptations to the war against us?" The other Xerillians hissed. In concern, "We must act," the commander decided. "We must test the limits of these Deathworlders, and if they are truly as dangerous as they appear, we must eliminate them before they become too numerous." Across the border in Confederation space, Captain Pierce and his crew were unaware they had become targets. But soon the true test of human capabilities would begin. The Xerillian attack came without warning. 3 massive warships appeared near the Confederation outpost on Vega Prime, their weapons already firing. Captain Alan Pierce and the Starlight responded immediately, along with 2 other Confederation vessels. "Shields at maximum," Alan ordered as his ship shook from enemy fire. "Return fire. Target their weapon systems." The space battle was fierce. The Xerillians had brought their newest weapons, designed specifically after studying reports about humans. They had never taken the Confederation this seriously before. On the bridge, Alan noticed something strange about the Xyrillian attack pattern. They're not trying to destroy us, he realized. They're herding us toward that gas giant. Before he could adjust course, a new weapon fired from the lead Xyrillian ship. It wasn't an explosion or energy blast, but a cloud of glowing particles that engulfed the starlight. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Biological agent detected, the computer announced. Unknown pathogen spreading through life support systems. In the medical bay, the ship's doctor collapsed. Across the vessel, alien crew members began falling ill, their bodies unable to fight the unknown disease. Within minutes, half the crew was incapacitated. Olivia Knight, the ship's medical officer from Earth, worked frantically to identify the pathogen. She was 35 with dark hair and steady hands that never seemed to shake, even in a crisis. It's attacking their immune systems, she told Captain Pierce over the comm system. But humans seem unaffected. Alan looked around his bridge. The alien officers lay unconscious at their stations, while the humans remained standing. Can you treat it? I'm working on it, Olivia replied. Their immune systems are simpler than ours. They've never been exposed to the range of pathogens we deal with daily on Earth. Alan made a quick decision. All human personnel report to essential stations. We need to maintain ship functions and continue fighting. The Xyrillians, seeing their bioweapon had only partially affected the starlight, pressed their attack. They had expected the entire crew to be incapacitated. In engineering, Chief Engineer Kelly Rodriguez took charge. With most of the alien engineers sick, she directed the remaining humans to maintain the ship's systems. Kelly had grown up in the high altitudes of the Andes Mountains, where the air was thin. Working under pressure was in her blood. Reroute power from non-essential systems to shields, she ordered. And someone get to Deck 5 to manually repair that junction box. Back on the bridge, Alan noticed the Xyrillians adjusting their tactics. They're surprised we're still fighting, he said. They expected their weapon to disable us completely. Communication Officer Daniel Harris, still at his post despite the chaos, intercepted a transmission between the Xyrillian ships. Captain, they're discussing us specifically. They keep referring to the Deathworlders and seem confused about why we're still operational. Alan smiled grimly. Let's show them what Deathworlders can do. All weapons. Focus fire on the lead ship. In the medical bay, Olivia made a breakthrough. She had drawn blood from herself and the other human crew members, isolating their natural antibodies. Our immune systems are already fighting this pathogen, she explained to her assistant, a young human nurse. We probably encountered dozens of similar microbes on Earth without even noticing. If I can isolate the right antibodies, we can create a treatment for the alien crew. Using the ship's advanced medical technology, Olivia developed a treatment in record time. It wasn't perfect, but it would keep the alien crew members alive until she could refine it. As the battle continued, the Xyrillians became increasingly frustrated. Their bioweapon had failed and the human-operated Confederation ships were fighting with unexpected skill and adaptability. Target their engines, the Xyrillian commander ordered. If we can't disable their crew, we'll disable their ship. A powerful blast hit the Starlight's engine section. The ship shuddered violently, and warning lights flashed across the control panels. Engine core breach imminent, the computer announced. Evacuation recommended. In engineering, Kelly assessed the damage. The engine core was overheating, approaching critical levels. The automated cooling systems had failed. We need to manually vent the coolant, she told her team. But the radiation in that section will be lethal. One of her human engineers, a young man named Ryan Morgan, stepped forward. I'll do it. My grandfather worked cleanup at old nuclear sites on Earth. Our family has slightly better radiation resistance than most. Kelly nodded. Be quick. You'll have maybe 5 minutes before you take too much damage. Ryan entered the engine core section wearing only basic protection. The temperature was over 50 degrees Celsius and radiation warnings blared constantly. Sweat poured down his face as he worked to manually override the cooling system. On the bridge, Alan watched the battle turning in their favor. The Xyrillians hadn't expected such resistance and their tactics were becoming desperate. Sir, Daniel called out, I'm detecting a new signal. Confederation reinforcements are arriving. 3 Confederation battleships appeared, responding to the Starlight's distress call. The Xyrillians, now outnumbered, began to retreat. Don't let them escape, Alan ordered. They need to learn that attacking us was a serious mistake. The combined Confederation forces pressed their advantage. 2 Xyrillian ships were severely damaged, and the third barely escaped. In engineering, Ryan emerged from the engine core, his skin reddened from radiation exposure, but still on his feet. Cooling systems restored, he reported to Kelly. Core, temperature dropping. Olivia's treatment began working on the alien crew members. Slowly, they regained consciousness, amazed to find the battle was over and they had won. In the aftermath, Alan gathered the senior staff for a debriefing. The Confederation admiral, connected via hologram, listened to their report with growing amazement. You're saying the humans continued to function even after the bioweapon was deployed? The admiral asked. And Engineer Morgan voluntarily exposed himself to radiation levels that would kill most species. Yes, Admiral, Alan confirmed. The Xyrillians made a critical mistake. They designed their weapon based on their understanding of Confederation biology. But humans come from Earth, a world with thousands of pathogens. Our immune systems deal with more complex threats every day, Olivia added. I've analyzed their bioweapon. It's actually similar to a virus found in Earth's rainforests. Most humans are naturally resistant to it. The Admiral was silent for a moment. The Xyrillians have never retreated from battle like this before. They've always considered us technologically superior but physically weak. You've changed their perception. After the meeting, Alan found Olivia in the medical bay, still, tending to recovering patients. The Confederation is calling us heroes, he told her. They're saying humans saved this sector. Olivia shook her head. We just did what anyone from Earth would do. We adapted and survived. That's exactly the point, Alan replied. What's ordinary for us is extraordinary for them. And the Xyrillians are finally beginning to understand that. Across the border in Xyrillian space, their military leaders gathered again, this time with a new respect and fear of the humans from Earth. The Deathworlders, their commander said, are more dangerous than we imagined. If we cannot defeat them with our current methods, we must find another way. 6 months after the battle at Vega Prime, humans had become central to the Confederation's defense strategy. Over 200 Earth representatives now served on ships and stations throughout Confederation space. The Xyrillians had been unusually quiet since their defeat, which worried Captain Alan Pierce more than their attacks had. Alan stood in the grand meeting hall of the Confederation Council on their capital world. The hall was filled with representatives from over 50 species. At the center was Admiral Catherine Martinez, newly appointed as the first human on the Confederation's High Council. Catherine was in her 50s with silver streaks in her black hair. She had once commanded Earth's largest naval fleet before being selected for this prestigious position. The Xyrillians have requested peace talks, Catherine announced to the gathered representatives. After decades of war, they are willing to negotiate. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Most were suspicious of this sudden change. Why now? Asked a reptilian counselor. They have never shown interest in peace before. Catherine's expression remained neutral. They specifically asked for human representatives to be present at the negotiations. All eyes turned to the small group of humans in the hall. Alan exchanged glances with Olivia Knight and Eric Mason, who had also been called to the meeting, hitting. Could be a trap, Alan said. Catherine nodded. It could be. But it could also be the first step toward lasting peace. I'm assembling a delegation to meet with them. Captain Pierce, I want you to lead it. 2 weeks later, Alan found himself aboard the Confederation diplomatic vessel Harmony, approaching the neutral space station where the peace talks would take place. With him were Dr. Eric Mason, Medical Officer Olivia Knight, and Security, Chief Lisa Blackwell. I don't like this, Lisa said as they prepared to board the station. The Xyrillians have never been trustworthy. That's why you're here, Alan replied. Just stay alert. The neutral station was an ancient structure built by a long-vanished species. Inside, they were met by Confederation diplomats and their Xyrillian counterparts. The Xerillians were tall, with gray skin and forearms. Their eyes were solid black, and they moved with unsettling grace. Their leader, Supreme Commander Vorax, stepped forward. "We welcome the humans of Earth," Vorax said, his voice translated through a device. "Your presence honors us." The formal greetings continued as both delegations moved to the large conference room. Alan noticed the Xerillians watching the humans, with intense focus, studying their every move. As the talks began, Vorax spoke directly to Alan. "Captain Pierce, your species has impressed us. In all our history, we have never encountered beings like you." "We're just people," Alan replied simply. "No different from anyone else." Vorax made a sound that might have been laughter. "No different. You survive conditions that would kill most species instantly. You resist diseases that devastate entire worlds. Your bodies repair damage that would be fatal to us." The Xerillian leaned closer. "We have studied your world from a distance. Earth is a place of nightmares. Crushing gravity, extreme temperatures, deadly radiation, countless pathogens, and thousands of predators. Yet you call it home." Dr. Mason joined the conversation. "Every species adapts to their environment. Yours adapted to the gentle conditions of your homeworld. Ours adapted to Earth's challenges." As the discussions continued, Alan began to understand the true reason for the peace talks. The Xerillians weren't afraid of human weapons or technology. They were afraid of humans themselves. During a break in the negotiations, Olivia made a disturbing discovery. Using her medical scanner, she detected unusual energy readings coming from the station's lower levels. "Something's not right," she told Alan privately. "These readings match Xerillian weapons signatures." Alan nodded. "Lisa, take a team and investigate." Quietly. Lisa and 2 human security officers made their way to the lower levels. There, hidden behind old storage areas, they found a massive device connected to the station's power core. "It's some kind of bomb," Lisa reported back to Alan. "Powerful enough to destroy the entire station and any ships nearby." Alan's face hardened. So much for peace talks. When the negotiations resumed, Alan noticed subtle changes in the Xerillians' behavior. They were more tense, checking the time frequently. "Commander Vorax," Alan said suddenly, interrupting the discussion. "Let's talk about the device your people planted on the lower level." The room went silent. Vorax's black eyes fixed on Alan. "You were never interested in peace," Alan continued. "This was about getting all the human representatives in one place, wasn't it?" Vorax stood slowly, his forearms moving to defensive positions. "You are too dangerous to be allowed to spread through the galaxy. Deathworlders like you upset the balance that has existed for millennia." Before anyone could react, the station shook violently. Warning alarms blared. "They've activated the device early." Lisa's voice came through Alan's communicator. "We have 15 minutes before it overloads." The power core. "Evacuate the station," Alan ordered. "Get everyone to the ships." Chaos erupted as people rushed toward the exit. The Xerillians blocked the way, weapons appearing from hidden places in their clothing. "No one leaves," Vorax declared. "The galaxy will be safer without the threat of humans and their Confederation allies." Lisa and her security team arrived, their own weapons drawn. "We don't have time for this," she said. "That bomb will kill everyone, including you." "A necessary sacrifice," Vorax replied. What happened next stunned even the other humans. Lisa moved faster than seemed possible, crossing the room in a blur. Before the Xerillians could react, she had disarmed 2 of them and stood face to face with Vorax. "On Earth," she said calmly, "I was a champion athlete before joining the Marines. Low gravity makes me even faster. Now we can all die here or we can all live, your choice." The standoff lasted only seconds before Vorax lowered his weapons. "Evacuate," he ordered his people. As everyone rushed to the ships, Olivia and Eric stayed behind with a small team to disarm the bomb. The Confederation engineers couldn't approach it due to the radiation it was emitting, but the humans could withstand it long enough to work. "Cut the blue connection," Eric instructed as Olivia's steady hands worked on the device. "Then reroute the power flow through the secondary system." With seconds to spare, they succeeded. The device powered down, and the station stabilized. Back, on the Confederation capital world a week later, the High Council held an emergency session. The failed peace talks had revealed the depths of the Xerillians' fear of humans. Admiral Catherine Martinez addressed the council. The Xerillians have withdrawn to their territory. Their leadership is in chaos after the failed assassination attempt. And what of humans? Asked an elder counselor. Some among us share the Xerillians' concerns. Your kind are different. Catherine smiled. Yes, we are different. We come from a world that challenged us at every step of our evolution. But those challenges made us who we are, adaptable, resilient, and determined. She looked around the chamber. We don't want to conquer or control. We want to help, to use our natural abilities to benefit everyone. The Xerillians saw only the danger in our differences. They failed to see the opportunity. In the following months, the Confederation established the Deathworld Academy on Earth, where representatives from other species could study and train under Earth conditions, with appropriate safety measures. Professor Ben Collins, a human geologist, became its first director. Our goal isn't to turn you into humans, Ben told the first class of alien students as they stood in a special environmentally controlled room, looking out at the Rocky Mountains. Our goal is to help you understand how adversity creates strength, how challenges foster innovation. Out among the stars, Captain Alan Pierce and the Starlight continued their mission, exploring new worlds and making first contact with undiscovered species. Many were initially frightened of the humans, having heard stories of the fearsome Deathworlders. But in time, the galaxy learned what humanity had known all along, that the same traits that made them survivors also made them uniquely suited to help others. Their strength became protection, their adaptability became innovation, and their endurance became reliability. The children of Earth, forged in the fire of their challenging homeworld, had taken their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians, teachers, and friends. And throughout the galaxy, the phrase tough as a human became the highest compliment one could receive.